you know, you had me at hello at Deadwood. I mean, you've been on before, you know, and I had you. I have the hat. We have this hat here. We can't zoom in on it because it's every single. You could see the scribbles on it.
Yeah.
But we've had every single person who's ever appeared on Deadwood sign this hat when they come into the studio with their favorite curse word.
And we all know what that.
I know, and we can't show you the top.
That.
The last one who was signed, it was Jared McCready, who was here, and he signed the very top of the hat with the worst of the worst possible polysyllabic curse that could be.
Yeah. No, he's.
And now, but you spend as much. You spend tons of time with him, obviously.
Our characters, because I worked for Swearingen, and he was trying to kind of undermine Swearingen, and was trying to sort of pull me into the fold, and Gerald, you know, and I had loved his work over the years, and he's a really interesting guy, and he was a lot of fun to work with.
Yeah.
And for a guy who's really affable and sweet, I mean, he was really formidable and deeply dark on that show.
Oh my God! Played George Hurst, and then obviously in McShane was no ray of sunshine himself.
No. But that was working with McShane was a masterclass, right? I felt like I was at the RSC or at Juilliard, you know, every single day, just getting to sit in a room with him and sometimes not even speaking, but just to watch him do his thing was an incredible gift.
We had Timothy Oliphant on, and he told a story about how David Milch, you know, and obviously the scripts were gospel, right, with him, that they changed that one day because a child actor the agent was pulling a power play.
Yeah.
And he just knocked on his Milch knocked on his door of his trailer and goes, well, he goes, we're going to kill the kid.
Yeah.
Because the agent was pulling a power play for the kid, and that's how an entire season's worth of plot lines flipped on its head.
Yeah.
You were there that day, I imagine.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you an interesting story apropos of that.
Sure.
Years ago, I was doing a series, Stephen Bochco, David Milch series, Brooklyn South.
Sure.
And it was an ensemble show, but there were two actors.
Great show, by the way. Great show.
I won't reveal their names.
Okay.
But they felt like they were kind of the standouts of this ensemble show. And there was a lot of kind of bad talking that was going on. And it got back to Milch and Bochco. Mm-hmm. So one day we're in between setups and the cast, we're all sitting together. And this is back when everybody smoked. So we're sitting outside, we're all having cigarettes. And Bochco and Milch come out. Hi, how's everybody doing? Great, great, great. And Milch, apropos of nothing, says, and this is how David Milch speaks. He says, you know, the thing about a copper show is you got some type disgruntled character within your cast. And, you know, the next episode, they're the first cop through the door and they forgot their vest in the trunk of the patrol car. and he says, well, everybody have a great day. And he walks away. And so we all knew who the culprits were, but they both turned crimson and got up out of their chairs and went to their trailers. So that's how you operate in the world of David Milch, you know. And it's not like he's being punitive, but that's not the kind of game that you play with a guy like David. Oh, really? So now you're saying that you want your, you know, this character to be paid, you know, it's favored nations. Basically, everybody's getting a peanut butter sandwich and $10, but you want X. So that kid just ran into the thoroughfare, and there was a stampede of bulls running down the center of Deadwood.
These are the people who.
I just got you on. Oh, wow.
That's what happened. All of a sudden, bulls are right down the thoroughfare, man.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. You got to dive into the Gem Saloon. You know, but these are the guys who once upon a time told David Caruso on NYPD Blue, you know, go to CSI Miami if you want, pretty much, or wind up there.
Well, yeah.
These are the guys.
You get put into jail, right? You can't. You know, Bochco and Milch they are responsible for my career in television.
You would say that?
100%. I was playing a lot of the same kind of roles, and it wasn't until I did NYPD Blue, in which I played a trauma surgeon in the ER, of which I thought when my manager called me, I said, they're never going to cast me in that role. It's not going to happen because of the other work that I do. And I went in and I read for Mark Tinker and David Milch and Bochco, and I think I combed my hair and wore a button-down shirt and wore my reading glasses because I thought, well, this will take away from, because I thought I was going in to read for a cop initially.
Mm-hmm.
Do the reading. It went well, and they all said, great, great, great. And David Milch on the spot said, would you like to play this character? And I said, yes, very much. And he said, well, the part is yours. And I said, really? And he said, why would I say that unless it wasn't true? I went, okay, so we'll see you on set. And just as I was leaving, I had my hand on the doorknob. David shouted out, don't forget to call your mom and dad. So that speaks to the fabric of his character. I then went on, once you got into the Bochco Milch Mafia,
that was it. You're in.
That was it. And it was a family. And, I can't think of anyone. And it wasn't until I ended up, in the land of Bosch, working with Eric Overmyer, who had also been a writer on Hill Street Blues. And
the original.
Great, crazy Milch stories. Everybody does. But yeah, very much so. I owe my career because then it turned the tide. Suddenly I wasn't relegated to just playing tough guy characters all the time. I got to be dads and lawyers and polysyllabic characters, not just guys that talk like, Hans Hall.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.